Today's event is sponsored by Lepensi Plumbing, Pools, and Air and Veritas Pest Management, two big supporters of the Manatee Chamber. Our presenter is Didier Bizimungu. He is the Digital Marketing Director at Webtivity Marketing and Design, where he enjoys helping businesses achieve their digital marketing goals. He's been working with Webtivity for more than 5 years, where he has helped more than 60 clients realize their business goals through marketing. Didier is a certified Google Ads, Bing Ads, and Google Analytics professional. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing from the University of South Florida and a Master's in Business Administration candidate at Florida Atlantic University.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for that amazing introduction. And I want to start out by thanking everyone for being here today. It is my hope that you'll be able to glean some knowledge about how to use Google to communicate with your customers, which is especially important right now as we navigate through these COVID times. So I'd like to start off by thanking our sponsors and, of course, the Manatee Chamber for putting on this presentation. I hope that you'll at least get a few things from this presentation. So GMB, just some basics, is a free Google tool. Right now, as it stands, it is still free. You can use it to manage your Google search presence. You can use it to manage your Google Maps, wherever it shows up. You can use it to interact with your customers. And you might be thinking maybe just the basics of maybe responding to reviews, but we're gonna see here, there is an innumerable amount of options that you have to interact with your customers using Google My Business. And most importantly, and this is really, really important for those of you who know what search engine optimization is, GMB is one of the biggest ranking signals when it comes to local rankings. So if you have some competitors, if your website, every single time somebody searches for your services in your category, yours shows up as number 8 or number 9, pay attention. These features, these things that we're gonna go through are gonna help you inch up a little bit higher than that competition. Now, for the first part of this presentation, and I hope you can see my screen here, the GMB, we're gonna go ahead and set up a completely brand new Google My Business. What you do is you go to business.google.com, and this is where you arrive. And the first thing that it's gonna ask you is to manage or sign in. For our purposes, you're gonna wanna sign in. If you're already signing into your Gmail account, you should see find and manage your business. But if you're not, it's gonna ask you to sign in. You can use a Gmail account for this. You can also use, if you have your custom domain, such as www.business.com, you can use that here as long as it's a G Suite domain. So if you buy your domain or manage your domain using Google, you can also enter it as your email. But for our purposes, we have the Gmail account. As an example, we're gonna use Didier Inc. You can see there that there's no business currently called Didier Inc. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and create a business with that name. Now, this is important. Google gives you another chance. It says, so what is the name of your business? Here is where I've seen some business owners sort of have a pitfall when it comes to this. Do not include keywords here. Do not include things that are not related to what you do in the hopes that you rank for those things. Only use your actual business name here. Now, you can use DBAs. That's no problem at all. But just don't try to think that this can be your way to get over Google. I have seen GMBs get penalized, and to get out of it, the process that you have to go through is not something I would wish on anyone. We just had a presentation on Google, the Google Search Console a few weeks ago, and it's something like that. You go through that process where you basically send in a request and then they reply to you, and it takes forever. In the meanwhile, your business is suffering. Next thing that it asks you is to set a category. Now, this is where you want to be careful. You want to be careful in that. For our purpose, we're going to use as an example. Let's go with flower market. You can see here that you can just type in whatever you want. You will actually have to choose from the categories that Google has already chosen. Now, a bit later on in the presentation, I'm going to show you how you can add subcategories to this listing so that you can kind of show up in some of the other services that you have. For example, if you're a real estate company, but you still do vacation rentals, I'll show you a place where you can add those as well so that you can gain rankings for those and people can find your company when they're looking for those services. Now, it's going to ask you next if you want to add a location for your customers. If you have, say, an e-commerce business, one where you're just a website, you don't do any other business, then in this case you would say no. Same thing if you have, say, a home business and you don't want anyone to come to your address. This is important here. There's a lot of small businesses that pop up, and sometimes you don't actually want your address associated with your GMB. So here you can click no. But for example, we're going to click yes, we actually have an address. And of course, next, it prompts you to enter the address. Here, I'm going to use an example address. This is an address that I'm aware of that does not currently have a business. So what I'm going to do is use it as an example, just not go through and claim it at the end. Then you want to click next. And next it's going to ask you, where do you serve your customers? Again, this is another pitfall that I've seen happen. You don't want to enter the whole world if you only serve the Manatee County area, just because you think it's going to give you better rankings. You only want to enter the areas that you serve. So for us, we're going to say, yes, we do serve outside our location. We are a flower market, but we also do flower deliveries in the surrounding areas. So we're going to go with yes. And it's going to ask you to enter those areas. Again, you only want to put in those areas that you serve. Of course, we're going to put in the areas where we're located. And sometimes we serve in the neighborhood city, so we want to include that as well. Again, if you don't want to send signals to Google that say I'm a spam GMB, that potentially I'm not a legitimate business, you can enter all kinds of locations here. But over time, Google will learn that you don't actually serve in those locations. And what's going to happen is you're going to get penalized, and it's going to take forever to get out of that penalization, and you're going to be losing business in the meanwhile. Next, it asks you for your phone number. This is your business phone number where you can enter it up here. It also asks you for your website. If you do not have a website, for example, there's a lot of businesses right now where you only have a Facebook page or you only have an Instagram page, you can also still put those in there. You can enter those. Or, and I'm not exactly sure why, I highly recommend that if you have a business in today's world, you have some kind of digital representation out there. But in that case that you're just vehemently against being represented online, you can choose, I don't need a website. Or you have another option. If this is a brand new business that you're setting up, you don't have any ideas, you don't have any money or any assets that you can kind of put into it and creating a website, you can have Google do that for you by creating a free website. Now, one thing to be aware of, this will be your bare bones website. It won't have, your custom images. You can enter some images. You can enter some things like your logos, but otherwise it's just going to be basic. For our purposes, we're going to say, yes, we have a current website. And lastly, they just have one more question for you, and that is for you to confirm your address. Where are you actually located? Now, there are several ways that you can do this. If your address was already an established business, sometimes it says, hey, we're going to call your phone number using an automated line, and all you have to do is confirm that that is indeed your business, and you're all set. But more often than not, what it's going to do is it's going to send a postcard to the address that you entered in with a tiny little code that you can enter into GMB and say, I confirm that I do business at this address. Now, this is really, really key here, especially if you're going through this process, so pay attention. You want to put something memorable here. You want to put something that's going to draw you back and remind you that you set up a GMB and you need to go take a look at it and put in this code. Or if you have, say, the mail goes to the front desk, you want to put in something here that's going to tell them to send you this code, because this comes as a postcard. And I don't know if you receive business mail, but there's a million amounts of postcards that you get. This thing gets thrown away more often than not. So what I would recommend is put something in here like Didier, enter in GMB or something like that, that can remind you, that can say, hey, take the time to go back to that GMB that you were setting up and finish that. Now, of course, that is not our address, so we don't want to send anyone a postcard. So we're going to click later, as in confirm later, although we won't. And that's the basics of setting up a GMB. You can see here in the information section, once you log into the dashboard, all this information that we entered is populated here. Now, just a quick heads up here. If you don't, and this is just a random example, I picked a local business that didn't have their GMB claimed, as in anyone else could claim it. And I just want to show you what happens here. So this is Andrew Brewer & Associates that I used. If you click here, look at that, it gives you immediate control. That is not what you want. You do not want your business out there having the ability for someone randomly to just claim it. They can change your business hours. They can change your phone number. They can change your address. They can respond to reviews. That is not the place that you want to be. So if you take nothing out of this presentation today, please, please claim your GMB at the minimal. Now I'm going to pause there and see if we have any questions thus far. Good.
No questions so far, Didier.
Good deal. Thank you, Carrie. All righty. So for the next part, we're going to use an established GMB. So in this GMB, it has all the cool new little features. The one that we set up is just bare bones. We haven't even confirmed it, so a lot of the settings are still lacking. So we're going to use an example here that has all the information filled in so that you yourself can go home, or right now as you're doing it, be able to see all the options that you may have. So first and foremost, if you recall me mentioning categories, so this is the main category, but you can also put in subcategories, as you can see. You can put in as many subcategories as you'd like. But again, if you do put in things and services that you do not offer, that do not describe you as a business, this is another sign that you're sending to Google that says, I'm a spam account, that my GMB is not of a legitimate business. So for our flower business, for example, we can put in flower delivery because that's something that we do. Sometimes when someone calls in and they want to send a business or flowers to a business or someone, we do that as well. So I want to add that as a category, as a part of the categories for the business. The address is self-explanatory. This is your location. You want to double check everything once you have it set up just to make sure you are at the correct location. You also want to make sure that that little marker is at the correct place. And you also want to double check your service areas. Again, if you recall, do not set up areas where you don't physically go to, where you don't actually serve the people there, even if it's virtually serving the people there. The more chances you have, you tell Google that you are not a legitimate business, the more chances you have of getting penalized. And again, as I mentioned, that process is harrowing. Next is your operating hours. Now, there's a tendency, and it's completely understandable for some businesses to think, well, I have an answering machine. Technically, I'm a 24/7 business. That means that you can call in and leave a message, and I'll get back to you. Nope, no. Google is a lot smarter than that. They only want the hours that you are in operation. If you put in 24 hours and people keep calling you at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and you never answer your phone, eventually Google is going to catch on, and you're going to be right back into that penalty box. So only put the hours that you are operational here. I'm trying to make sure that you follow the best standards of practices so that you never have a chance about risking your business when it comes to GMB. Google is huge. For a lot of us, this is where we get most of our traffic to our websites. Unless you're an anomaly, almost every single website that I've taken a look at has come from Google. So you don't want to do anything to run afoul of them. They have a lot of things that they're watching, and you just want to make sure that you're on the up and up in everything that you do in their tools. So the next thing that you can add is special hours, and this is perfect for holidays. If you have holidays where you're closed, this is where you can put it in. If you have any special days that you yourself just take off, say you take a yearly trip somewhere for a couple of weeks during the summer, you can set this up. But, and this is truly important here, there's also a new way that you can use this. So for example, we're doing, it's during COVID times, and every other Monday, I want to close the store and do a deep cleanse and clean up everything that I can. So with that, I can set up a specific date here and mark it as closed. So you can choose specific dates specifically for closing. It does not have to be a holiday. So you can set that up. You can also set up special hours for those times. So again, we're doing COVID times, and you have some days where you want to close early so you can clean the entire store. Say you do that on Fridays. You can set a specific time and a specific schedule where you can do that using the special hours. So this is important. And one thing to keep in mind too is always be careful when you edit anything related to hours. You want to double and quadruple and a million times check. It happens to all of us. You may look at AM and see PM, or PM and see AM, and you may set the wrong hours, and you do not want that. You will push your business down. Next is your phone number. Again, plain self-explanatory, but if you have, say, a special service that you use to track your phone calls, such as one called CallRail, you want to add that, and you want to track your GMB phone calls and say, I went to a seminar about GMB and I set it up, I perfected it and everything. Does that even work? Like, did I get more phone calls? Well, you can take that special phone number that you set up and put it up here as your primary number, and then make sure if you do that, you use your primary as your additional phone, because you still want to tell Google that, hey, that is still my business phone, because they can take a look at Yelp, they can take a look at your LinkedIn, they can take a look at your Facebook business page and say, wait a minute, it's like he's telling us this is his phone number, he or she, but we see this phone number instead everywhere. So as long as you have that as your additional phone, you should be in the clear. And it should allow you to track your GMB phone calls. Now, this is a really, really cool feature. Google allows you to set a short name for your company. What does a short name do? Well, highly recommend that you use, of course, your company name or something related to your company specifically. If it's taken, add modifiers such as Florida or Bradenton, wherever your location is located, because that may happen depending on what kind of business you're in. But you can use that short name for cool things, such as if you go to G, that page, that right now it's set to Webtivity Designs. You can use that as a link to your clients through your email marketing, through your social media, to send them directly to your maps. What that means is that it doesn't matter if you ever change your address, your operating address, if anyone ever puts in that short address, they'll always be able to find your business. So anytime you send out marketing emails, for example, and at the bottom you say, directions to our store, you can add that little short link in there and make sure that they're able to reach Google Maps directly anytime they search for that. And I can include some of these URLs as well. At the end, we can either send them out in an email, or you can get in touch with me and I can give you some of this information. Because there's another cool feature associated with the short name as well. When you go to Webtivity Designs / you can add review next to your short name right now. So G.page / whatever your business name is / review. And what that does is, so the first one sends you to just your Google Maps page. But the second one, if you add just review at the front, it does this really, really nifty, cool thing where it pops up your Google Maps, but it goes a step further and pops up your review box. So if you send this to a client, say for example, you just got a new client, you send in the email that says, hey, thank you for patronizing my business. We really appreciate your business. Can you please leave us a review? This is the link that you can use. If it loads here for me. It goes to Google Maps directly and it pops up your review and says, do you want to leave a review? Now they do still need to be signed in into Google, but at least it makes it super duper easy. Back in the olden days, we used to set this up ourselves using some other external tool. But as it stands with Google, you can set this up by going to G, that page / your short name and then / review. And we'll let that go. Okay, perfect. Now, next is your website. As we mentioned before, this is where you want to enter your website. I want to draw this out, however. If you, at some point, hopefully at some point, have gotten to the point where you've secured your website using what's called an SSL certificate, that means that your website, instead of accessing it using HTTP, you now go to HTTPS. You want to double check to make sure that this is what it says for your website. What that does is gives you this nice little lock that you see up here at the top that says this website is secure. If I send them my credit card or if I send them a contact form, some kind of messaging, it is actually going to get to them. So you want to double check that. Now, if I changed this website or any of the data up here, sometimes what it says is confirming data. What that means is Google is checking its internal systems. It's checking other areas of the web to make sure that that data that you just changed is indeed correct. So don't freak out if you walking with me through GMB and you change something and it said loading or it still hasn't shown up yet. There's still time for that to happen. On average, it takes about less than a day, sometimes a day or two. What you want to do is maybe set some kind of reminder and come back and double check to make sure that it finished. This is especially important when you set your short name, because sometimes somebody else has taken your short name and Google takes a while to get back to you to let you know that short name is not going to work. And that's the case where you add some kind of geographical identifier or anything else to set you apart. Now, another cool feature is appointment links. This is not just limited to setting appointments. So if my business is massages, for example, and I'm only doing appointments, or we're doing COVID and I'm only doing appointments, it doesn't just have to be a special business. You yourself, as long as you have a contact us page, you can include that as your appointment link. It gives people, visitors to your GMB, an easy way to send you a message. So I don't want to see your website. I already like your website. Maybe I'm already using your services and I'm already a client. And what I want to get to is to send you a message through your contact form. If that's the case, I can just click on the appointment link and be there immediately. And moving down, now this one might be different depending on what kind of business you are. So we specifically, this example is set to services. If you have products, this is gonna say products. You can set this when you change it. But if you click edit, you can go in here and edit the services that you provide. Just put a title and a description. This is simple stuff. If you have a website, you can just almost literally just copy the title of your different services and put a description underneath. And you only have to do this once unless you change your services. So I always highly recommend to my clients that you take just a little bit of time, put in your services, and make it as easy as possible for visitors to your GMB to be able to know exactly what your company is about. Another cool feature is attributes. Now this is special. It's not your regular information that's going to be available. It's not your categories. It's not labels. This is your attributes, and they're severely limited. They're limited right now to veteran-led, women-led, online appointments, or on-site services. So if you qualify in any of those areas, go ahead and click add. And you want to add that. It kind of differentiates you from other businesses, sets you apart, and gives you another reason why they should patronize your business. And of course, your business description. This is limited to 750 words. You can understand if you write 750 words and it's all one paragraph, it looks terrible. I wouldn't read it. So I recommend, I always say it, this is sort of a tip, go ahead and add in paragraph breaks. So put in little spaces in a little bit, like below that one, so that when somebody's reading all that description, they actually have a chance to pause and keep reading. And next up is the date that you were opened. This is great, as in it adds a layer of trustability to your company. If I just opened in 2019, I look completely different than someone who opened a business in 1999. I'm more likely to trust that other business. And you can also, and this is somewhere where try not to let your mouse linger in these areas, because these two buttons are dangerous, but they're very, very useful. Before this, they weren't even really used except in the most extreme circumstances. But of course, COVID changes everything. You can now mark your business as temporarily closed. When you click this, it brings up, and I'm even afraid to actually click it just as an example, but it brings up a box that says, do you want to close? Yes or no, and then you confirm it, and that's it. Now, I always want to mention this as well. Put out a sticky note. I don't know how it is that you remind yourself, tie a knot around your finger, whatever it is. If you mark your business as temporarily closed, mark it somewhere and have a way that you can come back when you restart your business again, that you remember that you need to go to your GMB to turn it back on. Because I promise you, when it comes down to restarting your business, GMB is going to be the last thing on your mind, okay? You're going to be calling back suppliers, you're going to be calling back your internet provider, all these different things, but you're not going to remember to go to GMB to reopen your business. So set something aside, put on a sticky note on your computer screen so that when you come back, you sit down in the office, it's the first thing that you see in the top left corner, so that you're aware that, hey, I need to go back to Google and restart my business. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in the office and no phones are going to be ringing, and you're going to be like, what happened? And it's because your business is still technically closed. And of course, never let your mouse stray to mark as permanently closed. That one also confirms, just to make sure. But unless you are truthfully closing your business, that's the only reason why you want to click that. And there was some confusion there when COVID started, with some owners just clicking permanently, and it was a huge thing. And they separated those buttons a little bit more. But if you ask me, they should separate them even more. There should be even more spaces. Now, not everyone might have this on their GMB. These are known as Google Assistant calls. These are calls that Google makes. Say, for example, if I change my hours here for 4th of July and I say I'm open, every once in a while, Google robot or robocall calls you and says on your business line and says, we just want to confirm that you changed your July 4th hours to this and this, and you say yes. And that's all that is, the Google Assistance call. So you want to check that. You want to make sure that if you make any changes or if anyone else makes any changes, you are notified potentially and be able to either approve or deny those changes. And this is more internally for your own knowledge. You can set a store code. This could be a number. This could be the location if you have multiple locations for your business. We have Bradenton set for this one. And you can also add additionally labels. Labels, again, if you manage a lot of different locations and you want to make sure that you're applying or working on the right location, you want to set that up as well. And this is a bit more advanced too. If you have Google Ads, if you're running Google Ads, if it's a marketing company that's doing it, they probably have this set up already. But if you're using call tracking, you can set up the extension call phone number that you're using and put it in here. Otherwise, there are some tools that do that automatically for you. So if this is missing and you have Google Ads, it's not necessarily time to panic. They just might be doing it through Google Ads instead of through GMB. So just be aware of those different options. I'm going to take another pause here, Carrie, see if there's any questions.
We have a number of questions. So the first one from Melissa, I hope I'm going to get this right. She gets a ton of spam callers for loans, things she doesn't ask for, and other businesses not affiliated with her actual business. Does Google include that when she doesn't answer?
So Google technically just tracks it when somebody clicks on your phone call. So if those spammers are calling you using their cell phones, which is highly unlikely, basically what it works is if I'm on GMB on my phone for your business and I click call, that's when Google tracks that phone call. But if I see your number by searching regular using my desktop and your business comes up and I call your number, Google can't track that. It's almost impossible. So they do track it, but only if those spammers were using their cell phones, which is highly unlikely.
Okay, next question. Melissa, if any of you need additional information from the answers, just go ahead and post that in the Q&A. Amanda would like to know, you mentioned not using 24/7 for the person's hours, but if her company is a 24-hour service because they have techs on call at all hours, and their regular phone number does get transferred to their cell phones, is it still frowned upon? Should they only put their office hours?
No. So if you have someone answering phone calls 24/7, then you're technically open. So you can put those up on as 24/7.
The next one is another home-based business. She has a Google account already, but when she tries to log into her account, it wants all the info as if she's trying to set up a new account.
Okay, so with that, so when she goes to business.google.com, it asks her to enter in all the information. The only thing that I can say that may be happening is that the account, the Gmail account or the G Suite account that she used to set up Google My Business is different than the account she's logged in when she goes to business.google.com. Otherwise, for example, when we set up this example that we set up, if I go to business.google.com, it should take me back here to GMB if I click login. See? So just make sure that it's the right account that you claimed with GMB is also the same one that you logged in currently when you go to your GMB.
Okay, if a business does not have a storefront, is it better to not be affiliated with Google Maps? Melissa is having a tough time getting equal online representation without Google Maps, but also doesn't believe she's getting correct SEO settings since she is on Google Maps. She's tried both and just isn't sure which is best for her.
I would highly recommend that you do get on Google Maps. It is useful. If you saw when we were setting up earlier the other account, you could pick no for showing your address. And instead, what you add is your service areas. So you don't necessarily need to add your address for people to come to your home, but you can set a service area and that way Google can know this is where you serve your home-based business. But highly recommend that you are on Google Maps. There's just so much traffic that you're going to get from there that you're not going to be able to get it garnered from any other source of traffic, especially when it comes down to traffic that you're not directly paying for.
That is excellent advice. All right, last question for now. Can you explain the difference between products and services and show an example of how those look from the customer's view when they look at a business page.
Okay, so description-wise, products and services. So one is going to be something that you actually buy. And the other thing here, let me see if I can put it up on my screen. So some of them, you're going to be able to see things that are listed here as some of the services that you described and some of the reviews that you've gotten over time. But for the services area, for people to be able to see what you do specifically, they won't be able to pull up those specific services or products. But you are able to tell Google that, and for that they use this, hopefully my screen is not small. You see these little like tags that show up in some of the offerings that you have, such as some of the reviews that you have. They'll highlight some of the things some of the people have said about you related to your services and products. So it's not going to offer people products, but there is some chatter online in the digital marketing arena that's what's coming next. That eventually you're going to be able to use the services, but it's going to be paid. It's going to be, you're going to basically pay Google for it to list your services for you. There is another cool feature that I'm going to show you that basically shows you that a way that you can get leads directly from Google, where someone can click and either call you immediately or ask you for more information in a more immediate format. But for now, it's not going to be sort of like a listing where you have your services and your products listed up. This is just a way to give Google an idea that says, hey, I have that information and that is correctly applied to my business.
Okay, we've got one last question, and I don't think it's quite been answered, but what if your business has both services and products?
So that's another thing that Google My Business right now is what I can describe as in the middle of figuring it out. So as of now, if you do both, you can add your service as almost like a product with a description, or if you're set to products, you can also add it as a service. It's going to look a little bit weirder, and the only features that you're going to be able to add for the service is just the description. So that's another area that Google is still trying to figure out. They're taking their sweet time because they know this is something that you see, but clients don't necessarily see. So that's something that we hope to see at some point in the future. And I hope that kind of narrows down your answer there.
Yes, go ahead, and we were ready for the next round.
Excellent, good deal, and good questions. Please keep them coming, especially now as we get into a little bit more of the advanced features. So that was what I would consider to be the basics, at least if you get out of this presentation, how to set up your GMB. And also you've gotten out of it how to do that basic information area. You have your GMB as configured basically as possible. So that's a good, solid foundation to be in. But if you want to take that extra step, if you want to be a GMB superstar, there are other options that you can take as well, such as posts. So these are posts just like you would think about them in, say, Facebook, in, say, Instagram. These are things that you can add to your GMB. And this is an example of a post here. Right now, we have the seminar as an event. And you can see here, this is so huge and so key, you can click underneath to sign up immediately. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to send someone else to another website or another area. You can click below to sign up. So you can add a post, you can add an event, you can add offers, anything like that, and you can send someone directly to where you want them to go. That's how huge it is. In the category of posts, we have events, and I always recommend to all my clients, of course, please add a photo or a video with every single post that you do. Otherwise, it's going to look like this. It's just going to be text, 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 text. Oh, look, more text. That's not what we want to do to our potential clients. Instead, give them shiny images like these, stand out. Another cool feature that adds on to as well is that if you look at how far down we are on the page, these are the numbers for you to go to another page. So if you add a post and it has an image, it pushes down people also search for who are your competitors. So you want to include these posts. You want to add them so that you can push them all the way down where no one's ever going to find them. You just want your information there. So you can add an image. You want to, of course, include an event title, and you can set it to the specific date that that event is happening. Once that event has happened, just like the seminar, once it's over, the event post goes away by itself automatically. One thing that I always recommend, just like I showed you with the sign up, always add a button. They always make it optional. It's not optional. Send people to your event. Send people to the other posts that I'm going to go through as well. You want to give someone as many call to actions as possible. I don't want to read about your event. I actually want to know how I can go there, how I can attend. So that was events. Next is regular updates. These again can be pictures, this can be videos. Don't just write more text. You can, but I do not recommend it. And of course, you can actually write text here of the actual post. Always recommend that you do a button. And then you also want to have a link where you can send people that, hey, I saw that post, I really, really liked it. It was an update on something. It's something that I'm interested in. I want to know more information. So I'm going to go there. So you always want to add a link. If there's anything that I can say about this whole posting section is add a link. That's the takeaway. Same thing, you can also add an offer. Imagine, this is my favorite company, or I really like their stuff. I really like their products, for example. And I search for their names. The GMB pops up here. And all of a sudden down here, I see, oh, they have everything 20% off right now. Of course, I'm going to click learn more. Of course, I'm going to click take offer. So you want to make sure that whenever you do it, you want to make sure that you do offers as well. If you do promotions, you want to put in your title as per always. And these do expire when it comes to when the offer itself expires. But always, of course, remember to have a link to your website. Send them to that page that has that offer. One thing that I want to point out too is that the regular updates expire in 7 days. So keep that number in mind. So this is not like Facebook. Unlike that, with your Facebook, you can post one thing for 2 years and it's still going to be there. People are going to visit it and they're still going to see the same thing. But with GMB posts, 7 days. So set a calendar reminder. I don't know how you do it. Send it to Todoist, whichever application you use. Every 7 days, come back in here. You do not have to create a brand new content. You can just literally use whatever you posted on your Facebook, your Instagram, and just add it to your GMB, because we want to push down those competitors all the way down and gone. So that was offer, and this is huge. If you're messing around with your phone, this is time to pay attention, please. This is really, really big. This is a completely new feature that Google designed specifically for COVID-19. This is the COVID-19 update. You can put in a description of what you are doing as a business to weather the effects of COVID-19. You can tell them how you're cleaning. You can tell them your distancing options that you're using. Most importantly, you can also click learn more and add a link to a dedicated page about your the different changes that you've made. You can even send them to your homepage if you just have a notification. But this is the COVID-19 update, the only thing right now in GMB that you can post that stays there forever. At least as long as this pandemic has been going on. So this is not going to go away. This is something that you want to take advantage of. And some people, some smart people I've even seen do a COVID-19 promotion. So this notification is, we're being affected by COVID-19. Please bear with us. These are some of the changes that we're enacting. Oh, and we have a special offer for COVID-19. And the link here is a link to that offer. So if you can imagine now, you have some way to advertise on your GMB a promotion offer that is not going to go away. Unlike some of these offers that we went through, and like some of the updates, the events, that one is actually going to stick up top and stay there. Now, I want to make sure I pause here before this next one. This is also a hugely important one, especially taking into account the times that we're in right now. There's a new feature on Google My Business where you can send a message to your clientele or your potential clients that says, hey, we're having issues with COVID-19, we're closed, we're not making money. Would you help us out by buying a gift card? So these things, I'm sure you've seen restaurants do this. I'm sure you've seen some other stores and some other advertisers do this as well. Right now you have a limited amount of platforms that you can use: Square, Toast, Pagaro, but they keep growing. They keep adding on more. But on top of a gift card, you can also add a donation link. So you can actually send people to, right now it's GoFundMe and PayPal, and they can send you a donation directly. So write up a message, tell them how you're doing. People that are gonna be on your GMB are people that care about your business, that love your business. And so you wanna show them a way to support them. I know I want that. There are some of my favorite businesses that I wanna know more about what I can do to help. We're in this together, and we want to make sure that we can help each other out. So if you can, please, if you forget everything else, also remember this. You can send an update. Now, you might ask, Didier, how do you know about all these features? Is it because you work in them all day? How do you know when these things pop up, like the COVID-19? Well, there's a way for you to keep track. If you go into your dashboard and go to settings underneath there, you want to make sure all these notifications are checked, all of them. Some of these are product updates that are going to let you know. Some of the earlier question was, can these services or products be shown to, potential clients? You're going to be the first to know when that becomes, live, because you have these updates set up. Another thing that's really cool about these is that reviews will also go to your email. They'll notify you when you get reviews. So turn those notifications on. They don't send too many updates. They don't send too many emails. In my experience, at least compared to some of the ones that I've dealt with, some of the other people that I subscribe to. So they won't inundate your email with information. And if they do, you can go in and turn off some of them. But I highly, highly recommend that you turn on product updates. GMB is always changing. Google's always adding new features. And most importantly, for our next part here, you want to make sure you respond to all reviews. Another key takeaway here: respond, 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 respond. It sends a message to your clients: hey, I care about you and I want to give you as much information as possible. I want to respond whenever you take the time out of your day to leave me feedback. It sends messages to Google by saying, hey, I'm a responsive business owner, so please send me more business because I care about my clients. I respond to my clients. It doesn't even matter if the review is just 5 or stars, whatever it is, with nothing underneath it. You want to say thank you. You want to let the person who left that review thank you for taking that time out of your day to leave me that review. So always, always be responsive. Another important factor here, and this is something that is often overlooked, I've set up my information, maybe now I'm going to post every once in a while, but what do you mean, now I have to add pictures too? Yes. People want to know what your business looks like. They can't physically walk into your business because they're just starting to learn about your business, but they also want to see, what can I learn from that business right now, something that is actionable. So 86% of clients right now, when it comes to online, will check your reviews 100%. We know that for sure. But something like 53 of those will also look at your pictures. So minimally, if this is all you do, I'm okay with, add your logo and add your cover on the back. But also think about it. Images are so easy to put on. You're going to have your right now, every single one of us has a smartphone in our hands. If you have a storefront, you can put in a 360 video, just, walk around your office and take a video and upload it. You can take videos of your interior, of inside your store, of your outside of your store. You can take pictures of your team and upload those. A cool feature that you can do also to send another signal to Google and says, this is my location, I'm a local business, and of course to increase your local SEO, is you can geotag your images. Now this is a bit of an advanced feature, so get in touch with that. If you have some kind of marketing professional that you're working with, I would recommend you reach out to them. There are tools out there that you can upload your image in, add a geographical tag of your office, and then upload it to GMB. So that way you're spreading out your signals in terms of telling Google, hey, this is where I'm located, I'm a local business, give me all those rankings. So something cool to remember. But please take time out of your day. You can take these images from Facebook, you can take these images from any of your other social media and just add them on. If you think about how many leads you get from Facebook, if you think about how many times you get phone calls directly from Facebook, it's huge. So no matter how much time you spend on Facebook, try to spend just a teensy bit of that on Google My Business, because it is important and it is only getting more important. Now we're gonna get into some super advanced features here. The first one I'd like to explore, if you have your phone, right now, Google My Business has an application that you can download. And this is for iOS, for Apple devices, and Android devices as well. Why do I say that? Because if you install that app and you log in with that same account for your Google My Business, you will be able to see features that you can't see with desktop. A little hidden gem. Not only one, but two. Again, they're always adding more features to turn on your alerts. One of those features is messaging. Right now, if I use my phone to look up your business, I see this button here that says message. I can send you a direct message if you have message turned on, but you can only turn it on using your phone. So get in there, turn it on, but only do so if you are aware that you will be able to respond to messages within 24 hours. Google requires you to be responsive. You want to make sure that you get one of these markers here that says typically responds in a day. So people know that you're responsive, that you actually care. If you don't, and if you do, if you let it go on for enough of a long time, this messaging feature will go out. It will turn off on your GMB, and I have not seen instances of it coming back. So if you do turn it on, make sure that you're turning it on a phone or an ability for someone there on that phone will be able to respond to that message within 24 hours. So you can actually have multiple people logged in into that account. As long as they have that app on their phone, they'll be able to respond to clients. Another cool new feature I wanted to make sure to mention, again, you can find all these out as more updates come in, is you can turn on your followers. So right now, again, on your phone only, there's an an area where you can go into your products and be able to select follow, and you can actually follow users and actually, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Your users can follow your business. From there, you can send them special messages just for them, such as offers. You can add special messages for them. For example, if you were closed for a while and then you reopen, there's no one better than to send out a message to than those core followers. And this is something that you can send out to your email, your social media. Hey, follow us on GMB. There's a special offer waiting for you. Another way for you to communicate with your special clients, your favorite clients, or at least be able to have some kind of funnel that is directly connected with them. Another feature, and this might be, I think, my last one here, in case you're getting a little overwhelmed. It's called being able to set up orders. So if you're a restaurant, this is just a specific category of business. If you are a barbershop, if you are a hotel, for example, you have the ability to set up these cool buttons that says order now, order pickup, depending on what kind of business you have, book now, send in a request, and so on and so forth, but only if you are one of those categories and if you use one of these Google partners. You can see these partners at google.com/maps/reserve/partners. So that's google.com maps reserve partners. And if you have one of these tools on your website, there are settings that you can set up and have people directly reach out to you to set up reservations, to set up bookings. If you can imagine how strong that is, how amazing that is, to be able to say, hey, go ahead and call me or put in an order without ever going to my website. All you do is click it and you're set. Another way you can kind of cut into the middle of Google and say, make it as easy as possible for clients to find me. Another cool feature that is only available to clients, questions and answers. But this is also something that you yourself can do. By clients, I meant that if you go into your dashboard, you won't be able to see questions and answers right now. That might change in the future. But right now, currently, and I encourage everyone to do this, please type in your business name and check out your GMB and see if you have any answers or any questions that don't have answers. Anyone can ask a question, including you. So if you have a frequently asked question area on your website, you can set this up and add some of those questions and answers here. But what's really, really dangerous about this is, and you have to check this every so often, is that customers, other people can answer these questions. So they can give earnest information. So you want to be there. You want to be the first person that sees a question, and of course, the first person that answers it. So always double check to make sure that those questions and answers are marked. Right now, currently, there's no notifications when a question goes out, which is unfortunate. There was at some point. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but eventually they should be able to have that option. But double check your Google My Business. If you do have that option for questions and answers, you want to make sure that you have that checked, that you are answering those questions. So we did covered how to claim your Google My Business and how important it is to make sure that no one else claims it. This is kind of a summary. You want to make sure that it is completely claimed, because anyone can just basically put whatever they want on there. We covered the different features that you have. You have your messaging. You can manage your Google Maps. You can monitor your reviews, photos. You can answer customer questions, which is what we covered the last thing. And most importantly, generate business. I'm sure we could all use more of that. Make sure to make it as easy as possible for your clients, your potential clients, to be able to contact you for that final lead marker. You can post on Google My Business using regular posts, using offers, your COVID-19 update, remember that. You can also use it for events. As we saw, part of an example, there's that notification that's gonna stay. Remember, the COVID-19 notification stays up there forever. As of now anyway, just stays for the longest. It hasn't come off as of yet. Offers expire. What's new? Updates expire within 7 days, and events expire whenever that event is over, understandably. You can mark your business temporarily closed or open. Just be very, very careful about that. You can change your work hours, specifically if you have special days that you're not going to be open or you have special limited hours. And always make sure to set your alerts in that settings area to make sure that any new features, such as support your business here, you are aware of and you know about it first. Some precautions, it's not always great. You want to watch out for these. Be careful when you're changing your work hours. That goes without saying. Please do not close your business inadvertently. Do not change your business category without research. If you have a marketing company that manages your GMB, get in touch with them before you do anything on your GMB. Just please talk to them first, because when you change your business category, it could change all the listings and all the information that you have in terms of your rankings. It could throw you in a completely different category. So be careful of that. Do not spam keywords in your business name, in your tag, in your descriptions. None of that. Only put the information that you would want your clients to know. Respond to all reviews, even if it's just stars. You want to let them know that you're listening. And of course, communicate with your clients regularly. GMB is an amazingly powerful tool. And I hope with today, you're able to be more informed about what some of the features that you can use and some of the benefits that it has. If you do the minimal today, please claim your profile, optimize it, just add that info area and turn on those alerts and get started communicating with your clients with Google. Now let's move on to our question and answers.
All right, we do have some. All right, first up, will interacting with Google on a regular basis, like doing Google posts and offers, move you up in the rankings?
Yes, so it has this marker that you will see. I showed it in one of the screenshots. It says responsive business. So it will actually mark you as a responsive business. You will gain rankings from being responsive to your clients using GMB.
Regarding posting, please explain about posting on Google and posting on social media. Can those be linked together?
So they currently can, but you have to use an outside service to do that. Right now, for example, if you want to post on using Facebook, using Instagram, and some other social medias, you have to use a third-party tool. Right now, there are some third-party tools that do that, but it's not specifically available with GMB. So it's just a limitation that it has right now. It's a system within itself. So you have to do this yourself. But if you post on Facebook, say you post an image, you post some text to go with the image, you could just take that, copy and paste it in GMB, done. There's nothing extra that you need to add to it.
That's a good shortcut. On the Google My Business app, there's an option to see reports. Melissa's report on photo views is very low compared to businesses like hers, but her amount of photos are much higher than businesses like hers. Is she doing something wrong? These are metrics from May 20th on.
So one thing I will be careful, photos are actually tracked very well. So you do want to continue to add photos, but of course, no one's gonna see your pictures if they didn't visit your GMB first. So you kind of have to set apart in terms of your priorities. So the first priority should be gain rankings, be able to come up so that people can see your GMB and click on it and then look through the pictures, and then add a whole lot more in terms of content to your GMB, because now you have traffic that's coming to it. So with that, what I would do is maybe get an estimate or have a marketing professional take a look at it and be able to tell you, why is it that the pictures are not getting a lot of rankings or a lot of views, especially if you have high rankings in your category. So there might be some kind of other underlying issue, but usually you want to make sure that you're at least ranking well organically, and that carries on to the other pictures or other kind of assets that you have on your GMB. So those two things are internally linked.
If you had a logo on there previously, apparently the size is now wrong and they've removed it. What size do you need for your Google My Business logo? Because Google doesn't actually tell you that.
So there is somewhere where Google tells you that, and I did have it in my previous notes. I have to dig through my notes to double check, but Google does tell you the code that you need for that logo. So Melissa, there's gonna be my contact information at the end. If you shoot me an email, or if Carrie kind of works with us, I can send you that information. There is images that are set for the logo, for the cover, and just your recommended image sizes for the post as well. So that information is out there. It's just you might dig into the thicker things to find it.
And of course, with the delaying of the questions, I hope you can remember this part, but what was that app you mentioned? What was the name of the app again?
Excellent. I do remember the app. It is called GMB, Google My Business. Type that into your market, whichever phone that you use, and it should pop up.
Is Buffer one of the third-party tools that will connect with GMB posts?
Yes, it was broken for quite a while, so I didn't want to mention it if it's still trying to figure out how things work. Google My Business changed something right before COVID that kind of broke it for a while, but if it's back up working again, Buffer is one of those tools.
Okay, well, that seems to be the last of our actual questions. We will be sharing the recording from the webinar, and we will also be emailing you Didier's slide presentation so that you can refresh yourself on the many things that we learned. Thank you so much, Didier. I think that was very, very interesting, and I hope we all walked away learning some stuff. Thank you again to our sponsors, Lepensi Plumbing, Pools, and Air, and Veritas Pest Control. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming, and we will see y'all soon.
Thank you.